If you're constantly falling for people who feel exciting, but never actually make you feel secure, it's not because you're broken. It's because your subconscious thinks inconsistency is home. Hey, I'm Kristen, and in this video, I'm walking you through why so many of us get stuck in attraction loops that feel intense, emotional, even addictive, but never actually safe. We'll talk about trauma, childhood attachment, nervous system wiring, and why you're probably not chasing love, you're chasing familiarity. And I'll explain how that pattern can finally change, but not in the way most people think. Let's start with the story we think is true. I just have bad luck in dating, or I just like a little bit of mystery, or my favorite, I always fall for emotionally unavailable people. But here's what's actually happening. Your body is chasing what it already knows. That's not your type, that's a survival pattern. From the time you were a kid, your nervous system started learning what love feels like, not in your mind, in your body. So if love meant walking on eggshells, being overly self-aware, trying to stay invisible, or working hard for attention, guess what? That's what your body now calls home. And when it finds someone who mirrors that energy, the emotional distance, the inconsistency, the high highs and low lows, your system doesn't see that as a red flag. It sees it as normal. It feels like chemistry, but it's not. It's just your brain recognizing a familiar pattern and saying, we've been here before, we know this, do it again. So let's talk about this cycle most people don't realize they're in, anxious attachment, and specifically intermittent reinforcement. Intermittent reinforcement is a term from behavioral psychology, and it means someone gives you affection, attention, or love randomly, unpredictably, and your brain becomes addicted to the chase. Think about it. One day they're warm, they're sweet, you feel seen. The next day, gone, cold, not responding. And just when you're about to pull away, boom, they come back. Now your system's hooked. You're chasing that feeling again. This has nothing to do with romance, it's brain chemistry. That hit of dopamine when they reappear, it rewards the behavior. It wires in deeper. It becomes a loop. You start confusing anxiety with passion, withdrawal with depth. You think, this means something, we must be soulmates. No, it means your nervous system is caught in a reward cycle that feels so intense, it tricks you into thinking it's love. The real root of this, and what I go deep into in my book Unpacked, is early attachment. Your earliest experiences with love taught you how to love. If your parent or caregiver was inconsistent, warm one moment, emotionally distant the next, you had to work for love. You learned to stay alert, to earn attention, to be good, to not need too much. And now, that's what you chase. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system believes this is what connection feels like. So when someone shows up and they're consistent, kind, calm, it can actually feel boring or uncomfortable. You might even sabotage it, not because you want to, but because your body doesn't recognize it as real. That's how deep this goes. Your body says, we don't know this, get back to what's familiar. And that familiar thing might be someone who pulls away just enough to keep you chasing. Not sure if this is you? Here are some signs you might be in a trauma-driven attraction loop. You feel more anxious than calm around them. You analyze every text, every pause, every shift in tone. You feel like you have to earn their love or prove your worth. You make excuses for emotional inconsistency. You feel a rush of joy when they reach out and panic when they don't. You keep your schedule open in case they're available. What you're describing isn't connection, it's survival. You're not responding to who they are, you're responding to what they activate within you. And that's not chemistry, that's your anxious attachment style playing dress up. Here's what happens when you meet someone secure before you've done the work. You push them away. You don't feel the spark. You think they're nice, but I'm just not feeling it. Why? Because your system's not used to calm, it's used to inconsistency. Healing can happen outside of a committed relationship. In fact, it should start outside of a relationship. Here's what it looks like when you start recognizing your own trauma patterns while dating. Instead of feeling anxious and calling it love, you notice the anxiety and ask, why does this feel familiar? Instead of obsessing over how to earn their attention, you pause and ask, why am I working so hard to be chosen? Instead of rationalizing inconsistent behavior, you call it what it is, inconsistency, and stop pretending that it's okay. Instead of confusing emotional unavailability with mystery or depth, You recognize it as distance, not something you need to decode. And instead of riding the high when they reach out and crashing when they don't, you step back and notice the cycle for what it is, unstable and painful. Instead of saying, but we have a connection, you start asking, is this connection actually good for me? You don't need to become more lovable. You need to come home to yourself, the version of you that isn't shaped by survival, but by self-respect. If nothing else lands today, let this part stick. You are not broken or unlovable. You are conditioned. And that conditioning came from trying to feel loved and accepted in emotional environments that were unpredictable, inconsistent, or unsafe. You learned how to perform, how to chase, how to keep the peace. You made those things look effortless because you had to. But now you get to do something different, not because it's easy, but because you finally can. You don't need to become more lovable. You already are. The work now is to stop choosing people who make you feel like you're not. If any of this hit a nerve, if you feel like, okay, this explains so much about my relationships, I wrote a book that dives way deeper into all of this. It's called Unpacked. It's not fluff, it's not inspirational filler. It's everything I've learned about how trauma, attachment, and self-worth mess with the way we connect and what you can do about it. So if you're tired of saying, why does this keep happening? This book will help you see it. And once you see it, you can finally start choosing something new. Links in the description. The patterns, they'll stay until something changes. Drop a comment if this spoke to you or if you've been through this exact thing. You're not alone in this pattern, but you are allowed to outgrow it.